All right, number 8 is solving linear systems by graphing. Now, some of you need a lot of review for graphing lines, and so it's important that you pay attention. Now, neither of these lines is in graphing form, so I need to rearrange them. X minus 2y equals negative 14. When you rearrange the equation, remember you're trying to get it into y equals mx plus b form so that you can graph. The first thing you do is look at the y term, and you want to make sure it's positive. Now, if it's positive, then you don't touch it. But if it's negative like this one, you need to first get the y term positive. So I'm going to toss it to the right side, and it becomes plus 2y. And then we have x equals negative 14 plus 2y. Now we need to solve for y. We need to get y alone. So the first thing I have to get rid of from the right side is the negative 14. So I'm going to toss that over, and it becomes positive 14. So I have 14 plus x equals 2y. Now I have to get rid of the 2, so I'm going to divide every term by 2. And my equation, I'm just going to flip-flop it. Y equals 1/2 x, which is the same as x over 2, plus 7, 14 divided by 2. So that's one of my two equations. And let me go ahead and rearrange the other one. So 5x plus 2y equals negative 10. Looking at the y term first, it's positive, so I'm not going to touch it. I'm going to move the x term over, so I get 2y equals negative 5x minus 10. Divide everything by 2, and I get y equals negative 5/2 x minus 5. So that's my second equation. Now, when you graph them, first look at this. This is the b. The b is where you cross the y-axis. This is the y-intercept. So here's my y-axis. I'm going to go put a point at 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then my slope is 1/2. That means the rise is the top number. The run is the bottom number. So you start with the top number, the 1, and I'm going to go up 1, and then I have to run 2 to the right. So see, my line's going uphill. This is a positive 1/2. And so then I'm going to go back to my intercept, go down 1, then I have to run 2 to the left. And, whoops, I need a ruler. You've got to use a ruler for these because if your line's off, you might not see where it intersects correctly. So as neatly as you can, do a straight line. Then on the second equation, the y-intercept is negative 5. So go 1, 2, 3, 4, negative 5 on the y-axis. My rise is 5, my run is 2. So, and notice the slope is downhill because it's negative, so my line has to be going like this. So I'm going to rise 5, run 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, but I have to run this way to make it go downhill. And if I want, I can just go up 5 over 2 again, or I can go down 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right 2. Either way, connect the dots carefully. Let's see here. Okay, that looks good. Oops, except for this part got goofy. And see how close, I mean, it's either going to be right on a corner or right in the middle for our purposes. It could be anywhere in reality, but I'm not going to give you a really weird one. Okay, so the intersection is 1, 2, 3, negative 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Negative 4, 5 is the solution, right, for that problem. Okay, for this problem, rearranging the first equation, 3x minus 9, y equals 0. All right, look at the y term. First, make sure it's positive. It's not, so I need to move it to the right side, plus 9y. So you get 3x equals 9y. Now get y alone. So divide by 9, divide by 9. Y equals 1/3 x. I'm simplifying it. Okay, that's the first line. Second line, negative x plus 3y equals negative 3. Now the y term is positive, so I'm not going to move it. Instead, I'm going to move the negative x to the right, becomes plus x. And then I get 3y equals negative 3 plus x. Divide everything by 3. Y equals, now this is 1/3 x. This equals negative 1. Okay, and looking at these, I can see that the slopes are the same, but they have different y-intercepts. This line has a y-intercept of 0. So these are going to be parallel, meaning no solution. But you still have to graph them. So 1/3 x means the intercept is 0. So first plot that on the y-axis. That's my y-axis. Rise 1, run 3. Up 1, right 3. Down 1, left 3. See, it has to be going uphill because it's a positive slope. And connect the dots. Okay, we get that. And then negative 1 is the intercept for the second line. So negative 1 on the y-axis. It's also up 1, or rise 1, run 3. Rise 1, run 3. Down 1, right, left 3. They're very close together. That's kind of annoying. Okay. But don't forget to answer the question. In other words, you want to solve it, so you need a solution, and the solution in this case is no solution. All right, that is the second page. Page 3. Let's see, this one. Now we've got the square root side. So we want to simplify. Now a radical is a square root. They mean the same thing. Simplifying these square roots. So I need to break the numbers into their factors. 8 is 4 times 2. Stop if you get a perfect square or a prime. So I have 4 times 2. 2 is not paired up with anything, so that's going to be stuck under the root. The 4 is a perfect square, so a 2 comes out. That's gone. Put the 2 in the front. 2 square root 2 is the answer. On B, well, it's already set up to be 13 squared is a perfect square. That's 13 times 13. It's already squared. That means I can pull one of the 13s out. Nothing is left. The answer is 13. On C, neither of these are perfect squares, but remember you should always simplify any fractions under the square root first. So let me write this a little bit bigger, 20 over 45. I can divide both of them by 5, and I leave 4, and I leave 9. So really what I have, here I've just simplified. I haven't actually taken the square root, so be careful. Don't put 4/9 as your answer. That's something that happens a lot. It's still the square root of 4/9, but this is going to bring out a 2. I'll pull out a 3 from the 9. 2/3 would be the answer. Okay, on D, 252. Let's break this down. I know I can divide by 2 and get 126. Okay, 126, I can divide that by 2 and get 63. That's 9 times 7. 7's prime, 9's a perfect square. So putting them all under, 2 2's a 7 and a 9. 2 times 2 times 7 times 9. All right, 1, 2 can come out because that's a pair. 9 is a perfect square, so a 3 comes out. 7, sorry, you're stuck behind. Multiply whatever comes out, put it in the front. 6 square root 7 is your answer. Okay, on E, I'm gonna write this a little bit bigger. 12m to the 5th over 3m. I can divide the 12 and the 3 by 3, and I get a 4. Circle that. And I can cancel this m out of these 5, and I leave 4 behind on the top. Or you can go 5 minus 1, subtract the exponents. So now what I have is the square root of 4m to the 4th after simplifying. I can pull out an m squared from this. That's gone. And I can pull out a 2 from the 4. So I get 2m squared. All right, to be continued.